Welcome to The Circle of Trust, honest insights and proven strategies for predictable law firm growth.
Hello and welcome back to The Circle of Trust with Keith Dyer. Keith is the founder of LexGrow and a seasoned law firm marketing strategist who helps attorneys scale with clarity, systems, and predictable results. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about one of the biggest marketing money pits law firms can face. That's their website. This is how to improve your law firm's website to get more clients. Keith, sir, welcome back.
Hey, glad to be here and happy to see you again, man.
Good to see you, brother. So from your experience, working with different law firms, why do so many websites kind of fail to generate those real results?
Well, I think the biggest mistake that firms make is ignoring their website. And then the next biggest mistake is putting too much emphasis on the website. We kind of live in a world where I think people, especially older folks, and I would actually even consider myself to be part of that generation, except that I'm so forced to be involved in technology that I'm not, I see this as a mistake. And the mistake is that they think the website is end all be all, and they are so focused on it. And don't get me wrong, it's vitally important. What's most important about it is to make sure that it does what you want it to do, which is to convert people from visitors into leads, right? So it needs to be built in such a manner that that happens. It needs to be modern and look good and all that stuff. But people can take this too far, and they can get too hyped into the actual design of it and how cool and beautiful it looks. Mm-hmm. And people generally don't care. If it looks good enough, professional enough, and it shows you in the light that you want to be seen, and then converts people the way you want, are the important factors to think about. Mm. And law firm websites get very big. They're huge because there's a lot to them. Yep. I think I would avoid using some of the bigger companies that do this because you end up becoming a number. And I would try to find website designers that understand law firm search engine optimization. Mm-hmm. So they're building everything from the beginning with that search element as the guiding force.
What are some of the common mistakes, though, you see on these home pages or maybe the service pages that kind of hurt this conversion?
So there's not enough calls to action, or they're not organized correctly. And there's like an optimal number of them, that you want to have. And there's nothing welcoming the person to the website. Like these chatbots and things are terrific, and they've become so much better over the past couple of years, where they really help you nurture. Often there'll be like a video of the attorney talking. Yeah. And there'll be options for people to choose, and then they can choose the option of what they want to do, like what they need. And then these bots and eventually humans come into the process as well from those sections on the website that allow people to interact. They help nurture these leads into actual, qualified leads, for lack of a better word. They help qualify them without the human being involved, but they also are not dehumanizing to the client themselves. They're very well built. So I would make sure that something like that is on the website, as well as just clearly giving them the option to call or fill out a form. People like doing different things. I wouldn't get too carried away in the options in which they can contact you. It's either call or fill out the form, right? Mm. The mistakes I see are people ignoring those kinds of things. Mistakes I see are websites that are not organized very well. People want to get to the point. Like your user experience is one of your biggest things to guide you. You want to get straight to what they are looking for. The website is about them. It's not about the firm. People only care about the firm insofar as it's going to help them. So everything, just like in any marketing, the marketing is built for the potential client. No one cares if you're a family-owned business. They don't care about, they do like seeing that you've had success. They like seeing that you have a reputation. Of course, all those things need to be on there, but don't get too carried away with talking about the firm itself.
So how do these websites build trust though? Is it saying things like that, testimonials? Is it your success? Like how do they build that trust for potential clients? Like kind of like right off the bat.
Yeah, that's an important feature they do need to include. So, talking about your case results, people oftentimes don't like to do that, but I think that's a mistake. I think you should because people want to know what you've done.
Yeah.
And then also to have testimonials and how many Google reviews you have. Those kinds of things are good for people good elements for people to build trust. And I'll say even some of the vanity sort of top 100 lawyers or greatest lawyers, those things also build trust as well and should be included on a website.
Can you explain the difference between, a site that kind of looks good and one that kind of builds trust and adds leads, kind of maybe that gets that happy medium that you were talking about?
Yeah, so what I mean by looks good is there's too many moving parts on it. Like
Mhm.
the video stuff looks good, but often it can be a detriment on search engine optimization.
Load time and stuff like that.
Right, load time, and then also just user experience. You don't want too many distractions. Um, so people caught up in that, and I've done that myself on my own website. Oh, I think we should have video. It looks so cool, and it does, but I would get away from how cool things look and how useful they are, right?
Mhm.
So that's one thing is just that, not getting too carried away. And then also just like blocks of text and reading. People are not going to read much. They want visuals. Pictures tell 1,000 words. They want visuals. They want to quickly know, what, when you come to a website, you want to know, hey, where am I? What can I do here? And how do I do that? That's
Mhm.
really the things, right? Where am I? Is it where I want to be? Right.
Mhm.
So you got to let these common things. If you let people know quickly and you look professional, then it's gonna be a good website. If you get
Mhm.
carried away with the design and all the things that look so pretty, then that can be a problem.
So how should law firms think about this SEO versus the conversion optimization? Is one more important than the other? Do they go hand in hand? What would you focus on one more than the other? What would you think?
They go hand in hand. So your SEO is going to be about building relevant content. Of course, there's technical SEO that needs to be done on a website, which is standard, and that's actually not difficult to achieve. And you want to make sure that whoever's designing your website understands this. And I would work with a company that is niched into building websites for law firms. I just wouldn't do the huge ones that you're
Mhm.
become a number. So you want content that's consistently being generated on top of the technical SEO. You need consistent content that's linking to different pages within the website, relevant content that people will discover when they're searching, right? And so it takes them to that particular page of the website. And then to answer your question, once they get there, then you want to convert them, right? So you
Mhm.
got to have all the conversion elements laid out in the best way possible. And I will tell you that you can solve a lot of these issues now that are you can have a guide if you use AI to help
Wow.
you with this. Yeah, you can go into AI, go into any of the large language models, meaning ChatGPT or um, you know, Gemini or any of these, and you can say, look, can you help me lay the framework for a website, a law firm website? Let's say it's estate planning or personal injury. Can you help me lay the wireframe for a personal injury law firm website that is designed to convert? And it will help at least give you the sections, and it can actually help you build the whole website.
Wow.
But I wouldn't rely on it to build the whole website. It's not quite there yet. But you can
Yeah,
use. I mean, you could, but the human involvement is still necessary. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, and same with SEO. I would avoid using SEO companies that say that they're only using AI. Have had this problem. We're not there yet with that.
Okay. So
Eventually, I do think AI will do most SEO tasks, but we're not
yeah.
quite there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all in the beginning stages. I know it's useful right now, but I still think we still need humans, Keith. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I've been in Chat GPT, not to take the conversation in another direction, but if you get too deep in chat GPT, even it starts to get confused by its own information.
Wow.
Yeah, it does. And you have to correct it or change the way that you're entering the data so that it doesn't get that way.
Mm-hmm.
Noticed it in some of the bigger projects I've been working on. It begins to forget things or not include things, and then it
Mm-hmm.
starts to remind me of my staff. And I'm like, you forgot about this, and we talked about
Yep.
that. So anyway, I digress. But I would use the Chat GPT or whatever large language model you are comfortable with, Grok or whatever, to help you with these matters, because you can start to lay out what a good website would look like in terms of its construction. And then the design part, you can work with the human on it, right?
Absolutely.
And of course, chat can give you great design qualities as well, but eventually, my experience, you always have to come back to the humans to get it working.
Yeah, Keith, what about messaging? What about law firms messaging? What, like, does that affect if their website performs well? Are there key phrases or positioning mistakes you see often in the messaging?
Yeah, I mean, I think the positioning needs to be about the client. That's what I mean, is it's got to always be centered around their needs. So if someone's injured and they come to your website, I would just pretend like if it was you. What if you had a car accident and your hip was broken?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lifelong injury. You're not going to, so what is this law firm going to do for me to help me, and how do I get in touch with them and quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the important things, really, in my mind. If I'm in
Yeah.
estate planning, it's a little bit of a different buying process, but still, I want to protect my family's assets. Why should I choose this firm over another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so frame all of your positioning in that way. As long as it's the end user is in mind, meaning the client or potential client, then you're gonna come out on top. And I would not be afraid to go in and search for websites across the country of firms that you might admire or that you think are good or known as being large players in your market. And I'm not telling you to ever copy anything, but glean as much information as you can, as much direction, because these firms, if they're that successful in their practice, they're probably great marketers, and they probably have plenty of money. So why don't you figure out what they're doing? My dad always used to tell me, if you don't know how to do something, find someone that does it really well and just copy them the best you can.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to plagiarize or take anything, but look at their design elements, look at the way they've got the site laid out. They probably have gone through this stuff multiple times, and I wouldn't look at just one, I'd look at several. And then kind of, when you're working with your website designer, send them all these different examples and say, this is what I want. Here's what Chat GPT tells us. Go get them. And you're giving them the direction that way. Or
Do different practice areas need different site strategies, or is there maybe a universal formula, maybe a universal template that you could use to kind of as a base?
I think they need somewhat different. They don't necessarily need different designs, but they need different content to get them to convert. And the way the content's laid out might change a little bit based upon the practice area, is what I'm really trying to say. Obviously, the content would be different. But yeah, the way that it's laid out. But generally speaking, websites are what they are, and people interact with them, whether it's one type or another. Now, there might be, if it's an e-commerce website or something like that, it's different. But when you're talking about these professional services, they generally are going to follow the same templates.
How do you recommend these firms measure whether their website is actually helping them grow? Like, as far as, kind of gauging these metrics, gauging this growth, gauging the traction that they're getting. How do you recommend they do that?
Well, you can't always tell how much effect the website has, because someone could come to it and look at it and call, right? If you have a specific number on the website, you can tell how many people are coming from the website from that number. But if you use a generic number, you may not know, right? So you might use a specific phone number to see how many people are coming off the website. You'll know if your forms are coming off the website. But again, someone could come to the website, see it, and it could do a very good job of convincing them that they want to talk to you, but they may get distracted, go do something else, and then call you from your Google business profile. You never get 100% accuracy, but I think using the phone numbers And then also just tracking. It's not difficult to track the forms off the website.
For someone listening right now that doesn't have this big old redesign budget or a lot of money to kind of revamp and change their website, what's one small change they can make maybe to improve their results?
I think going back and looking and seeing how well it's laid out for conversion, you could do this inexpensively and just make sure the conversion elements have been added into the existing website as it stands now. That's the thing I would do first.
Awesome. Keith, brother, appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I hope I gave some good information there. I'm not a web designer myself, but
Yeah.
again, whenever you come to a website, it's like, where am I? Is this where I want to be?
Yep.
Is it going to solve what I want it to solve? And then how do I get in touch with everyone? That's really it, you know?
Awesome. Thank you all for listening to today's episode of Circle of Trust. If your website isn't bringing you leads, it may be time for maybe a smarter strategy. Visit lexgrow.com to learn how Keith helps law firms turn their online presence into a reliable source of growth. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a review and share this information with anyone that might find it helpful. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.